All right, let's look at the head. I'm not going to go for a full-on portrait or anything. I just want to give you an idea of the basic approach when it comes to using value. The hard part about drawing faces is that they don't have, the features don't really have edges. What you have typically is just transitions between lights and darks that reveal the side of the nose versus the front of the nose, or the top of the eye versus the bottom of the eye, those kinds of things. And so you really have to look for shapes and transitions more than drawing the outline around something. And that's the key. So obviously I did a lot more work around here and just kind of crept up on the face, and that's a good way to work, is to kind of, if you can't solve a particular part, work on everything around it, and eventually there's no space left for that thing to be. So if I really squint my eyes down, I see a triangle of light at the nose. There's a little light attached below it. But generally there's just a shadow all through here. The eye, the cheek, and most of the stuff around the mouth and the chin all exists in shadow. And so just like I did at the very beginning, it makes sense to just push all that into shadow. Thinking of the big generalized form of the entire face first. And then I will carve light back out of that. It's a basic idea. This would be, if I was really working on a portrait, it's exactly what I would do. So what is the big dark shape from squinting down really look like? And then inside that big shape, I'm going to look for variations of light and dark. Same thing I did everywhere else. If you think about it, the area around the breast, the nipple, the muscles of the stomach, the ribs, the folds, the belly button, there's nothing more complex there than there is up here, or vice versa. So I'm really just going to be playing the same game I did down here, just up in this space. I do have to play around with here, the profile edge. How do I rise and fall to get through all these pieces? And a lot of that is, if you think about it, will be carving into the shading that's already done on the shoulder. So some will push into it and some will be pushed back away from it. Again, just like when I was working on the figure at the very beginning, I'm alright if this looks a little weird, if her face looks all, I don't know, looks kind of flapper girl right now. Just getting the general idea of things happening, and I'll look for the specifics later. I have to get all those players on the field and start comparing things before I can really start zeroing in on the specifics. And there you kind of have it. Obviously, I've left a lot of this unresolved, but you get the idea of how you would go about all of this. You just, big things first, big bold separation of light and dark, and then looking for smaller and smaller pieces inside. Constantly refining. I could go with this for a little while and get really specific to Megan's appearance. I want you to just have the basic idea of what I'm doing up here is the same thing I'm doing here or here. It's just really closely looking at the comparison of light and dark. What shape is it? Where does it go? How does it interact with the stuff around it? Hair is always better. I know I wasn't speaking during that. To treat it as big pieces of light and dark, same as everything else, and then look for where those variations happen, and never, never try to draw every single strand of hair all at once. Let clumps of hairs, how we really see things, larger pieces, even these kind of wispy strands that are hanging down. I could have a lot of fun putting some of those in there too. But I would treat them as clumps first and then go back in and make adjustments to them. Sometimes that means breaking them apart, and sometimes whatever you want to do. I don't like that one there. So yeah, I'll probably play around with this a lot longer, but got the general idea of how vine charcoal works with shading. So take this information, put it to practice in your drawing, and remember what you're really doing is just constantly working from general to specific and looking for more and more information as you go. Make sure it's all about making comparisons. So that's what you're after.